Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 229. So, this just came with the post this week. Thank you to all of the 100,000 people that have subscribed to this channel. My mind is blown. But in this week's news show, Volkswagen has partnered up with yet another EV startup. And we see some very strong sales numbers from Tesla in China. And Tesla is still leading the way here in Europe. And Rimac is coming out with a Robotaxi. And Jeff Bezos' rocket company Blue Origin is once again suing SpaceX. And at the same time, SpaceX lands a new contract with NASA. And BHP is one of the world's largest mining company, has ditched hydrogen and hybrids and are going for all electric. Another nail in the hydrogen coffin. And Europe is doing some more regulations. And the Cybertruck has literally just killed a Toyota Camry. All of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Volkswagen partners up with yet another EV startup. This time around it is not a Chinese one, but one from America. And no, it was not Tesla. It was Rivian, as RJ wrote on X. This is exciting. Volkswagen Group CEO Oliver Blume and I are thrilled to announce the formation of a joint venture between our two companies. This partnership brings Rivian's software and zonal electronics platform to a broader market through Volkswagen Group's global reach and scale, while providing an expected $5 billion of capital to Rivian as we bring R2 and our next generation vehicle to market. So $1 billion now and then $4 billion over time, but from what I can read it is only $3 billion that actually goes directly to Rivian over time, and the last $2 billion go into the joint venture itself. So this is a deal that seems a little desperate from Volkswagen, and also shows they still do not have the technology in-house for making compelling EVs and software, as they want Rivian's software and zonal electronics platform. So as Volkswagen said themselves, this joint venture is expected to create best-in-class software-defined vehicle technology. So what they bought Carrot for back in the days, you know, where Volkswagen spent $6 billion on a software company with thousands of software engineers to make the best software on the planet. And even good old Herbert D said back in 2018 Volkswagen would come out with an EV that could do everything a Tesla could do, but for half the price in 2020. So that was supposed to be the ID.3 that could match the Tesla Model 3 in technology and performance, but for half the price. But that clearly did not happen. The ID.3 is even a little hard to compare to the Tesla Model 3 today, as the ID.3 has almost stood still since it was launched in 2020, but the refreshed Model 3 is just the perfect car, like Sandy Munro said, is the best sedan in the world. But here in my country they are basically the same price. The Pro S is still a little bit more expensive than the standard range Model 3, but they are very close in terms of range, but Tesla wins on pretty much everything else, including safety assist features, performance, cargo space, tow hitch, charging speed, you name it, especially software. So their $1 billion investments in Carrot has been a big disaster for Volkswagen, and they are not really anywhere closer catching up to Tesla today. Quite the opposite. So now they hope Rivian can help them with their software problems, and maybe Xpeng in China as well, as they are the other EV startup that Volkswagen has partnered up with. So what will Volkswagen actually do themselves? Seems like they need help for almost everything from everyone else. So for Rivian it is of course a no-brainer. They just need the money, as they are still burning through about $1.5 billion every quarter, so this should give them enough to survive an extra year or so. And if they are smart, they also get some revenue from Volkswagen when they start implementing some of Rivian's software into their Volkswagen cars. But let's see how all of this plays out. But a smart move from Rivian, but I just think this really showcases the tough situation the legacy automakers are in. They don't really seem to be able to do this by themselves, as so many said they would. Even though Jim Cramer thought Mary Barra is the CEO of the year because she is making profits and the stock is up.
I want to buy GM more than I want to buy Tesla. I think Mary Barra is doing a great job, and Mary Barra understands cash flow. But Mary Barra is the unsung hero. The stock's up 34%. People say, "Oh, Mary Barra, what is she doing?" Yeah, I'll tell you, she's crushing it.
Best OEM of the year so far.
Oh, she's crushing it, and it's the buyback.
Yes, GM has a history of crushing things, mostly EVs though. But yes, GM has made a short-term profit on their ICE cars, so let's see how long that will last when the market is shifting to EVs. But for Jim to say he would rather buy GM stock than Tesla's seems out of touch, to say the least, to what is actually going on. Or maybe it's just me that is out of touch, of course, but time will tell. But anyway, this partnership between Volkswagen and Rivian seems like a better play than this one from Mary Barra. And if you, like me, have a 5-year-old Tesla, it might not smell of new cars and roses anymore, but there is a solution for that. Drift, the sponsor of this video, which is an American company that creates air care products for your car and home. All materials they use are sustainable, and their scent is made with natural, essential and fragrance oil. Their car products range from $9 to $15, so they are super affordable. And they have a very nice design as well. So you can choose between the wood or the stone depending on the look you prefer. And then you just put the little clip on your visor and the scent stone or the wood just snaps on magnetically, so it's very easy to use. So I thought I would put one of these bad boys in my old Tesla Model 3, as it suddenly starts smelling of old car after I got my new Model Y that just smelled of new car. And Drift has made it very easy to always have a good smell in your car with their subscription. So you don't have to do anything after your first purchase if you don't want to. First you receive a starter kit with a clip and a scent, and then you can just get a monthly refill, as they recommend changing it every 30 days. The stones tend to last a little bit longer than the wood ones. And a nice thing is also their scent of the month, which features a new limited edition scent. This is inspired by the season, so the scent of the month will also give you some variety, so it's something new for your nose every month, sometimes even with a hint of musk. Their subscription is very flexible. You can change the scent, your delivery frequency, or cancel your subscription at any time. So scan my QR code on the screen now, or click the link down below and use my coupon code TESLA to get 55% off your first month at drift.co. So your first month will be less than $5. So go nuts, my friends, and enjoy a good smelling car, and a big thanks to Drift for sponsoring this video. And we continue to hear about how bad Tesla is doing in Europe because they are not as high as last year. But it seems like people are just not getting the overall picture. Because it is not just Tesla. Even companies like Volkswagen are down in EV sales in Europe. But the only one we are hearing about is, of course, Tesla. And Tesla is still leading the race in EVs. So they might not be as high as last year, but they are still higher than anyone else. And everyone that made a meaningful EV sales last year are basically down in 2024. But another newcomers is, of course, up. And one of the biggest reasons for this that many are not mentioning when they talk about this is that Germany, the biggest car market in Europe, stopped EV subsidies in December. So of course that will affect the whole market when the biggest market is down in EV sales. And as you can see, Tesla is selling almost twice the amount of Volkswagen brand is doing. And Volkswagen is actually further behind last year's sales numbers in Europe than Tesla is. So could we please stop talking about how Tesla is the only one that is down in Europe, as they are the one that is in front by a lot and are not as far behind last year's sales numbers as someone like Volkswagen is. And as we can also see from this article from Business Insider, Tesla still has a massive leg up on every automaker. And that is of course Tesla's output cost per vehicle, the amount the company spend on components like metal, glass, battery packs, wheels and tires, average under $30,000 a vehicle, a new analysis from Bank of America found. That is $17,000 cheaper than a non-Tesla EV components cost, and about $10,000 cheaper than the industry average, including Tesla, the bank's analysis estimates. Even as Tesla's margins shrink and sales slows, the lower input cost keeps Musk ahead of his legacy competition. Companies like Ford and GM are relying heavily on their gas-powered profits to fund their electric future. Neither company has turned a profit on EVs yet. Yes, Tesla is way out in front and are still earning money on every EV they sell, while everyone else is losing money or has razor-thin margins. And we can see from the country that has daily delivery numbers here in Europe that Tesla is running away from the competition by the end of this quarter here. And Tesla's Model 3 and Model Y are still the two best-selling models in Europe. And if we look over to China, where people are also saying Tesla is struggling, they just had their best week of 2024 last week with 17,500 vehicles insured. So that is some solid sales from Tesla. As we can see, that is actually higher than last year, so another little gain on last year's numbers, still a bit behind, but nothing to worry about at all. Tesla is still doing great and sales numbers are strong. They might be down, but they are still very strong. Even if we are not looking at BEVs, but just looking at the premium segment in China, Tesla is the second best-selling premium brand. I'm sorry, but how is this a bad thing? BMW is a little bit ahead, but Mercedes and Audi are both behind Tesla, and that is including their ICE sales. Tesla has become as big in China as the German premium car brands. This is a very impressive achievement with only electric cars. Remember all the talk about legacy automakers catching up to Tesla? But in reality, it was Tesla that was catching up with legacy automakers. And as Roland wrote on X, with the launch of the Performance Model 3, we are seeing the highest Model 3 sales since he has been tracking this data. So it seems like the refreshed Model 3 is starting to get some traction in the Chinese market again. And Tesla is still looking strong on a global stage, yes, not firing on all cylinders right now, as we are still living in a high interest rate economy and they are selling only premium cars, but still doing very well. Rimac, which made the world's fastest electric car, the Navara, is coming out with a Robotaxi. But before everyone gets too excited, they completely outsource the self-driving tech on their word Robotaxi. So this is simply just a car with sensors. Mobileye will come with the technology and the vehicle will only be level 4 fully autonomous. So yet another geofenced LiDAR machine. Another version of the Waymo car, if you will. So they have come out with a new version of what Waymo, Cruise, Baidu and so many other Chinese companies already have. So I just don't see the excitement here, as Rimac has only ever delivered 150 vehicles in their entire history. That is their Rimac Navara, the electric supercar that cost $2.4 million. Rimac has never mass-produced a car before. And as we all know, prototypes are easy, and that is basically the only thing Rimac has ever made, as they have hand-built 150 supercars. That is basically the same thing as making a prototype 150 times. And production is hard, which they have never done before. So I don't think this will be a Tesla robot killer. So let's give it a bit of time and see if Rimac is capable of getting this thing off the ground in scale before a LiDAR robotaxi becomes obsolete. The only cool thing I can see in this announcement is that Rimac has already signed an agreement to launch in 11 cities in the EU and UK and Middle East, and is negotiating with more than 30 cities worldwide. So we are seeing that robotaxis is getting allowed in more and more cities around the world. This will make it so much easier for Tesla to get approval as well. And speaking of robotaxis and Waymo Waymo's Robotaxi is now open to all users in San Francisco. Over 300,000 people have signed up for Waymo rides in San Francisco, a big percentage of the city's population. And people are so worried about the approval for Tesla's full self-driving. But we have all of these other companies basically paving the way for Tesla's Robotaxis. That combined with the data Tesla will be able to show that they are an order of magnitude safer than a human driver, I think Tesla's Robotaxis will take off pretty quickly. And we are seeing more and more companies wanting to get into this business as Rimac here, as this will be a bigger market than the car industry itself. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Jeff Bezos' rocket company, Blue Origin, has filed a comment to the FAA saying they should cap SpaceX Starship launch from Cape Canaveral due to the impact of local environment. Yeah, Jeff Bezos continues his desperate fight against SpaceX, not raising them in technology with Blue Origin, which was founded in 2000, 2 years before SpaceX, and has not reached orbit yet, but by suing SpaceX again and again and again. I guess if you can't beat them, sue them. Well, good luck with that, Sue Origin. As Elon also wrote on X, not cool of them to try, for the third time, to impede SpaceX progress by lawfare. But maybe it is because NASA, of course, has selected SpaceX to develop and deliver the US deorbit vehicle and prepare for a safe and responsible deorbit of the space station after the end of its operational life in 2030. But if you want contracts like this, Jeff, get to orbit first, right? And remember, Blue Origin was founded in 2000 and SpaceX in 2002. SpaceX got to orbit in 2008, only 6 years after they were founded, and Blue Origin has never been to orbit. 24 years after they were founded. Sorry, Jeff, we can't wait for you to catch up, or we would never get anywhere. But SpaceX does get somewhere, as they have just launched the 10th liftoff of the Falcon Heavy. I just love seeing the Heavy take off and especially land again. It just never gets old. And then they put a weather satellite into geostationary orbit. You know, the place Jeff can't go. And here is a video of China trying to replicate what SpaceX is doing by dropping another booster stage on a local village. Yes, it's not easy doing what SpaceX is doing, they just make it look easy. And Tesla sales in Czech Republic will hit by the end of the month last year's total sales. So as you can see on this chart from Roland, the sales has just taken off like a rocket in Czech Republic. And ever since the Tesla Model 3 came out in volume in 2018 in the US, Tesla has outsold the entire US market of competitors in EVs. But now it finally seems that the competition is coming and overtaking Tesla. Well, that is everyone combined, of course, but it does seem like everyone else combined will actually soon be able to overtake Tesla sales numbers, as you can see on this chart from Bloomberg, trailing 12 months of EV sales in the US, and it looks like by the end of this year, Tesla might not have more than 50% BEV market share anymore. And Elon wrote on X, 12.4.2 is much smoother. That is full self-driving he is talking about, of course. Challenge is keeping safety high while increasing ride comfort. Build move to internal testing tomorrow. Nice. If you want to take a deep dive into all the things that is happening with full self-driving and robotaxis, check out my latest videos from this week on this topic, link down below. And nice to see the Secretary Pete doing some live fact-checking in Congress as Senator Scott Perry makes false statements about EVs. That is very nice to see. Like the EVs is falling in sales in Q1, but that is compared to Q4, of course, because they are up compared to Q1 of last year. But Scott also made a complete fool of himself after Pete mentioned that 1.2 million EVs were sold in the US in 2023, and Scott asked how many are government and versus private, because he believed the government is buying all the EVs and no private wants them. And Pete said, as you know, more private citizens buy EVs than government purchase. And Scott said, no, I don't know that. I don't think that is factually true. But the fact is that the US government bought less than 10,000 EVs in 2023, or about 0.8% of the total. And Scott is trying to say the government bought more than private. How can this guy be a senator? Scott also asked, with or without subsidies, when talking about EVs costs coming down, but it seems like Scott is forgetting the $7 trillion, and that was trillion with a T, that was spent on subsidies for the oil industry in 2022. Embarrassing that a senator can be so much out of touch with reality. And Teslatino, that is on a road trip in his amazing Cybertruck that I got a chance to ride in at the summer meetup in Michigan. Thanks, Raphael, for that. But when he came up to Nova Scotia, Canada, he swung by the Tesla store and not a single employee had seen the Cybertruck in person, so they stepped outside to see it, and he got this great picture of all the employees and his Cybertruck. Nice. And if you haven't seen my video about me test driving Raphael's Cybertruck, you should definitely check that one out, link down below. And ARK Invest has updated their price target for 2029 for Tesla, of course, highlighting the autonomous driving could make up almost 90% of Tesla's value. You know, the car company. There are 58% chance that Tesla commercialize its Robotaxi by 2025 thanks to advancement in AI and full self-driving technology, according to ARK Invest. I hope they're right. And we get another nail in the coffin for hydrogen, as BHP reject hydrogen and hybrids will go straight for electric giant haul trucks. BHP is one of the world's largest mining companies. They operate globally with a strong presence in Australia and the Americas. How many more nails in the coffin do we need before our governments stop wasting money on this foolish, inefficient and expensive technology? And Ryan Slinger shared this new Starlink Mini hooked up to the Cybertruck, having internet wherever he goes. Nice. And Tesla is relaunching free full self-driving transfer for people that take delivery of a new Model 3 YSX between June the 24th and August 31st. And I think this is US only. Stackable with all existing incentive, trade-in of existing VIN with full self-driving is not required. Nice. And an old Toyota Camry made a mistake of driving into a Cybertruck. It hardly scratched the Cybertruck, but the Camry was totaled. Yeah, you don't mess with the Cybertruck. And Europe NCAP is doing what Europe does best: regulate. Cars will need buttons, not just touchscreens, to get a 5-star safety rating in Europe NCAP by 2026. Europe NCAP is working on a new requirement where distracting screens must be classified as unsafe and lose a star in the safety rating. Tesla and Volvo, funny enough two of the most safe car companies on the planet, are the ones who has gone the furthest in the quest to remove physical controls and traditional speedometers in front of the driver. Now that is just stupid and so European. They have seen, right, how Tesla without autopilot is safer than the US average driver, and with autopilot turned on, it is 11 times safer than the US average driver. And Tesla's cars are literally the safest car that both NHTSA and Europe NCAP has ever tested. But in 2 years, they will lose a star because they don't have a button. This is just stupidity squared. The meme that is going around on the internet at the moment is just so true. The US innovate, China replicate, and Europe regulates. An AI driver on X had another show of Tesla's version 12 doing things that no one else really can. Go off-road. Waymo would just have stopped if it came up to a situation like this, but for Tesla's version 12, no problem. And Porsche recalls globally all ever delivered BEVs in the service centers because of a braking issue. Not a software update, but a real recall. Porsche has sold a total of 150,000 Taycans. These must now all be recalled into service centers to fix a brake problem that has been discovered in some models. And as Alex wrote on X, this news probably won't be published in any mainstream media, but imagine the headlines if something similar were ever to happen to Tesla. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest supporters of this YouTube channel. My new YouTube member, Riceman, and my new Patreon producer, Jim E. And my new executive producer, Colin Allen. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. So let's end off with a laugh with the week's birthday boy, Elon Musk.
Hello.
That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thanks to Drift for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to check out my link down below and use my discount code TESLA to get 55% off your first month. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.